I'm going to talk to the people today. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, January 27th, and as I like to call it, Money Mondays. Today is my favorite day of the Uber rideshare work week. For me, it is the most profitable time, the most profitable day of the week for me. I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit because I had a passenger this morning who was a bit loquacious, and we were talking, and he was having a conversation with another rideshare driver. Don't know what market it is, and he was saying that driver was talking to him about his experience in rideshare, and he used the quote or the term, "If my wheels aren't turning, then I'm not earning." Wow. Are we still saying that? Are there still some drivers out there saying that? Because I beg to differ. I beg to differ. And there are plenty of situations in which your wheels are turning, but you're really not earning. All right. Now, I can only speak from my experience in this particular market. And I don't even want to go off of what I've heard from my friends who are also doing rideshare. In the New York City suburbs market, we can pick up in our jurisdiction, and we can drop off at any of the major airports, of course. But guess what? Unlike everywhere else on the planet, probably, we cannot pick up from the airport and take anywhere. So our return trip is always dead miles. We're not being compensated for it. And the only comfort for that is it's a write-off in terms of our mileage. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, they add up, but I'm just saying. Those of you who are chasing trips, which is what Uber's trying to get you to do, that little screen flash that comes up on the screen that says you're more likely to get trip requests if you drive over here. That's keeping you in motion. That's having you burn gas. And that's never been something that I would do, because I feel like being located in a central area where I can get access to any of the major thoroughfares, north, south, east, west, that's what works best for me. I do not chase trips. I've never chased trips. Even when they had the surge on a multiplier or even this flat rate surge, neither one mattered to me. I was still fortunate enough to be in a market where I could stay in this particular area and get a fair amount of trip requests. Last, Uber Pro. I was so excited about Uber Pro when I first heard about it. Great, they're gonna start paying us more, if we have a higher rating. And as someone who's always had at least a 4.93 at my lowest rating, I felt that was gonna be great. I want to make more money. I feel like if I should make more money having a higher rating than someone who's barely holding on, with a 4.67 or something like that, who's barely holding on. I think that's fair. So Uber Pro comes out, guess what? No money. They offer these bogus incentives, and at the end of it, you have to maintain a certain acceptance rate. It's not about your performance rating. It's about your acceptance rate. So once again, Uber's trying to trick you into taking more trip requests than you might normally do. My feeling is the money is in being selective, is in picking and choosing to some degree the trips that you take. Case in point, are you going to drive? Would I drive 15 minutes to pick up a premium call? No, I would not. I only operate on two platforms, premium or premium SUV. My general rule is if it's a premium, I'm not going more than 5 to 7 minutes. And that depends on what hour it is. Premium SUV, I may drive as much as 10 or 11 minutes between the hours of 4 and 6, because I know between those hours, I'm 90% sure that it's going to be a airport trip or trip into Manhattan. That's been my experience over the last 2+ years. Between the hours of maybe 6 and 8, everything gets pulled in a lot closer. I'm only going to take a premium call that's maybe 3 or 4 minutes away. My premium SUV, now you're talking about maybe 6 or 7 minutes. Why? Because a lot of times those types of trips are not necessarily to the airport. Those trips are someone leaving from their house that doesn't feel like walking to the bus stop or the train station. And they're not financially equitable for me. And that's the window of my workday. You know, usually from 4 to 8, 4 to 9 if it's busy, and depending on what my last trip was, I'm usually wrapping up my day by 9 o'clock, unless of course I'm doing a video. So the moral to this story is you have to define the rules that makes this profitable for you. You must treat this as a business in order to make this profitable for you. You need to know the best times to drive. You need to assess when you're available to drive, because you may not be available to drive the best hours of the day. You need to figure out a way that's comfortable for you to determine whether or not this is profitable for you. And this doesn't work the same way for everybody throughout the country. So if you hear people breaking down, well, I made $2 an hour on average based on the money that I made, that may not necessarily work for us here in the New York City suburbs, again, as an example. Why? Because inherently, we have a lot of dead miles built into the way Uber has us set up here in this market. So I'm not going to sit there and base my profitability on the actual miles that I drive. I'm going to base my profitability, this is the way I'm comfortable in doing it, based on my time. If I'm driving and I'm averaging $30, $40, $50 an hour, I'm good. That covers my operational costs, regardless of mileage, which those are deductions anyway. And for me, time is money. That's why my work day is usually 4 hours or so, Monday through Friday. I don't really work the weekends unless there's something going on. It's a holiday or something. Case in point, I'll include the screenshot. Basically today I was online for 3 hours. Of those 3 hours, I made $119.43 on 3 trips. One of those trips was trash. One was to LaGuardia Airport as a premium, and one was to LaGuardia Airport as a premium SUV. The other was to JFK as a premium, if I'm not mistaken. And 3 hours, $119.43. You do the math. I believe that comes out to about $39, $40 at 3 hours. But realistically, I only drove for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So for me, my working time today, even though I was online for 3 hours, was only 2 hours and 15 minutes. And when you do that math, that comes out to $55 an hour on average. You can't beat that. Anywhere. Any job. Just about. So, I'm going to wrap this video up by saying that be smart about how you do this. Work smarter, not harder. Do your research. Know your craft. Learn your craft. Take the time to learn your craft. And you'll be successful. Or not, but at least you'll be able to assess whether you're not successful. And you'll be able to keep it pushing and find other options. Until the next video, my friends, stay frosty.